Sí. Sí, sí.
Recording in progress.
Just noticed as you were speaking, oh, your voice went down or went up, or like I will ask them, what do you think, how do you feel right now? What's coming up for you? And so I think it's a combination of those two things as the session progresses and as I notice the changes to bring it up to them, not just that. And then the second question was how to co-create the end of the session.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so co-creating the end of the session for me is really bringing them in and saying, how do you feel about this? What do you want to do with this now? Like as they're telling you how they feel and what's changed for them, you're like, wow, what does this make you feel? Like, how does this make you feel to move forward? How would you like to move forward with what you're learning or with what you've noticed? And not like, oh, what's your next action? I don't know. I don't have that type of like let's go to the action plan or like or
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know a
even
lot of
ask the
coaches that go for
action
the throat.
question. Yeah, like I don't know that I ask the action question. I just ask like, how do you feel about this? What does this motivate you to do, if
Mm,
anything?
yeah,
Like what, leaving it open for them. So very
yeah.
open-ended questions, and also like a lot of observation responses, like a lot of asking like, what do you think this means for you, like, or how does that feel in you? Yeah, I think a lot of those type of questions about feelings and how they look, how they sound. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's on Zoom, so a lot of this is on Zoom. I don't know if anybody actually has personal coaching sessions anymore. I've learned on Zoom, and
Yeah.
and I've done Zoom the whole time that I've been a coach. So
That's great, Bibi, because you have two insights. How do you know that your client grew and learned? I mean, you look at it from the observation physically, based on your background as a body worker. Um, and
yeah, and
that's
where do
important.
they
We
feel it? Do they
observe
feel it here?
where,
Do they
what,
feel it in their throat? Yeah, like
manifestations,
where do you feel it? Like what's happening and where do you feel it?
and not let it pass. I mean, it's not only just observing. The power comes when you reflect the observation back on the action. Hey, yo, what was that all about? This thing here, I see. So the client has to reflect inside and notice body. Okay, excellent. Who else wants to contribute? How do you know? How do you know that the client broke through, Maritza?
Yeah, and you just said something that, there was what I had in mind is that when we are still having the discussion throughout, during the exploration, my clients are sometimes start already going into the balcony themselves without without being driven by a question and saying, I understood, when I last week, when I did this, I understood that, that this didn't go right. So, that when they are starting to look at themselves from the balcony on their own, even during the session, they mentioned that in reach conclusions as to what it means. I think that I need to stop talking to that person that way because, so they're, even without being illicit, so we are exploring, but they're already going into the balcony. The other thing that Bibi mentioned is that the body language, but especially you see them feel relieved. Sometimes you see them, their shoulders go down and they're just more relaxed, and definitely the question about how do you feel, where the what's where are you right now in relation to what we've been talking about. So I thought that, for me, when I see this aha moment, right, they're summarizing themselves, right? That's really the key for me. The other piece, which is the co-creating, is the takeaway, the takeaway has a lot of how they feel about what's next, right? So, what do you want to do with what you just told me?
Yeah.
What would you like to, what do you think are the next steps? So it's not about creating a list, but it's about what do you think it means, for you in this context that we've been exploring here. So it's very similar, but for me, the going into a balcony has been very important to capture the learnings
Yeah.
and be able to read them back to, just paraphrase them back to them.
That's beautiful, Maritza. And there's another thing over years that when we're starting to learn, especially if we're going ACC, PCC level, we're thinking in terms of, we start out obsessively with that three, competency three. You guys do it very well. Sometimes it's 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4. Wow. And then it's kind of like I got to do step by step and the timing and the whole thing. And coaching is you're already sustaining the space from the get-go. And sometimes, I have 30-minute sessions and I got 4 minutes to go. There's a little clock that comes out. No stress at all. I could be in the middle of the session, but if you just sit back and reflect back, okay, we're about to close this session. Of all the insights, the reflection, the conversation about you and this and that, what do you think you could bring out to light that can be useful in the next 7 days? You just throw that out. And that creates such an insight because now the client is the one responsible for closing something without having it structured as an 8-1, 8-2, 8-3, 8-4. It's a natural session of expansion. How we doing? Let's go ahead and let's set this up for our practice. We're going to go into the Zoom rooms to practice based on these reflections, and thank you, because we will focus today and facilitates clients growth. I think this was one of the, when they went from 11 to 8, and back in the day when they went from the proficiencies to the competencies, I mean, it's gotten a little bit more simpler, minimalistic, but deeper. The partners with the client to transform learning and insight into action. That's what the competency states, promotes autonomy. And who's here going for PCC? Raise their hand. Anybody going for ACC? Good. Good, Nicole. How we doing, Nicole, with that?
Well, it's moving along. I just submitted my first video to my mentor coach, and so we'll be meeting right after Thanksgiving on that. I well over the 100 hours, and continuing
Way
to
to
grow.
go.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. I've got two areas that I really need to focus on, and I believe that the agenda today really will help in one of those. So,
Yeah.
mhm.
That's good. So that's great work because if you're close to the 100, man, you're coaching. You're doing some good coaching.
Yeah, I'm actually over 100.
Excellent.
Yes, and I want to uh, go through and achieve the other credentials, but I know I got to start here.
ACC. Yeah. Yeah. I'd go into that. Let's go through here, practice, because I always encourage just go straight for the PCC. If you're PCC, go for the MCC. Okay.
Okay.
We explore progress toward session goals. I always give like little places where I say, well, let's see how we're doing and, kind of move it along. Invites the client to state or explore learning about self. This is a big thing right now in ICF. They want to see the distinction between the who and the what. It's not explore what have you learned about this? What have you learned about giving feedback to your client? It's not about the solution, although it's important. They want to see that, but they also want to see what do you notice about yourself? What do you notice about how you relate? You know, that kind of exploration, more ontological, more towards the being. Consider how are they going to use the new learning. Post-session reflection and action, the action plans. What are we going to do? A lot of the coaches, you know, especially here in the United States, they like it that you structure an action plan. Let the other person define the strategy, but especially in corporate levels, they want to have a 1, 2, 3 plan that they came up with, and they feel proud. And you're the coach. You know, we have a role, we have an image, and they rely on us, even though that's not our role. The identifying resources. What is it that you have that can provide value in this and this and that? What barriers could come up? What do you think is going to happen the next time you hear that little voice that says, she's too old for me, or something like that? You know, giving those scenarios. Partners to distinct accountability, very classic. How are you going to be accountable? That's a great question, and it's continental. Um, I like to suggest that when you evoke a question, think like you are asking it for the first time in your life. Make it yours, make it different. Design accountability structures, celebrates progress. I think this one has gone under the radar. In the olden days, when the proficiencies were about, there was one that I love that said, champion the client. Thomas Leonard put that in. And I thought it was so cool because for me, it refers to the knight in shining armor. I'm your champion. I will, you know, I'm in the tournament for you and I win, and I'm your champion, and you give me a rose or something like that, some nonsense that we used to see in the movies. But championing the client is supporting the client, you know, uplifting the client. And we're not rah-rah sessions here, but yeah, it won't kill you to evoke a you got this at the end of the session when it's sincere. Among other things of support for the client to understand how he sees himself, and partners with the client to complete the session. How do you want to close it? So take those in effect. This is the competency that has the most indicators. It means also that you're going to get high marks because you're going to, if you use 3 or 4, you're done. Yeah. I mean, the assessors are like the instructors in the DMV. Have you ever been to the Department of Motor Vehicles to get a license? Y'all know how to drive. I mean, if you live in South Florida and you go from Miami to Fort Lauderdale on I-95, where everybody here in Miami thinks they're in Fast and Furious, and you make it, yeah. But when you go to the DMV and you think you're going to drive like that and get licensed, you got something coming. You got a woman next to you, or a guy, and he has a check mark. So he wants to see, oh, you didn't correct your rear view mirror before you started the car. You didn't put your thing. 10 and 2. All these, they want to see you drive competently. ICF wants to see you coach competently. Now, when you're in your session, in real life, you're driving a 995 at 2 o'clock, and because you have to be at 2:30 at a meeting. And here are some examples. Before we go in, we're going to go into session. As you look back at what you wanted to explore today, what feels different now? It's a nice one. 8-1. What have you discovered about yourself through this conversation? Yeah, you know. I have clients that they don't like to go. They say when I go in, no, Fernando, my last coach was too woo-woo. I didn't know what woo-woo was. Yeah, woo-woo. Yeah, it's woo-woo. Now I know what's woo-woo. So, you know, you got to calibrate. They don't have, none of these are woo-woo. The woo-wooism comes from the woo-woo self. Bibi?
Yeah, I want to talk about woo-woo a minute because to be honest, I've noticed that like when I went into this, I thought, well, this will have to be very, a little more regimented or whatever. And I find that I'm moving more towards the woo-woo actually, because people come in so blocked, a lot of them. And I do some mindfulness work first to
Yes.
try to get them to a place where they can, sort of like pull away at least one layer so that they can actually sit and be with themselves because
Yes.
they're so, family, work, blah, blah,
Mm.
blah, and it's so overwhelming for them that
Right.
when they come into the session, these questions of coaching, they can't get there yet. They're not in the present moment. They're in the past. They're in the future.
Right.
They're kind of like not inside of themselves and not like in this moment when even though this is something important to them and they've made the time and they're paying the money to come and have the session, it's like it's a little bit beyond them to be able to do it. So when we do the mindfulness, it helps to like pull away that first
Yes.
layer, like maybe just a meditation or so I find myself doing a lot more
Yes,
woo-woo
because
before we start, and then
this is
later,
yeah,
you could start with the coaching. But in the beginning,
absolutely.
it's like almost like okay, let's start by before we even start, let's like get into our
Yeah.
moment, like, so I go through this whole thing where I do a visualization and it really helps a lot.
It
So,
does. It does.
yeah.
And
And
what I
people
say
love it.
about
I don't know. I don't know that I got any feedback like, oh,
no,
I don't like this. I think most people really enjoy it.
there's a fine line between the two. The genius, because coaching by nature is reflective inside. It'll produce that way of being. It's about the conventional wisdom of woo woo, which is, frontal and dramatic, to being woo woo without being woo woo. Because the question evokes consciousness and the client needs that reflection. So when you have I'm talking about these strong, cutthroat clients that are opposed. No, they're the most sensible in the world. They don't have to know that what you're doing is profound. Look at the third question. What new understanding you have about this situation or the way you've been approaching, how might you apply this new awareness in your daily life? That takes them to a whole other dimension. When you find a place in the session where the client has discovered, where else in your life is this appearing that needs what you have just discovered? And it's fascinating what you see. What feels like the most meaningful step you'd like to take after this session? When the clients bring that to a close, to a concrete action. Okay, this was great. What might support you in moving forward? What could get in the way? How would you like to keep yourself accountable? That's I hear that all the time, which is great. It's a great point for you in the session. And what are you proud or grateful for as we close this conversation? That's taking a little step towards that place. But I do not limit myself in a session. If I know that this session is going to be useful for you, for me, for the greater good, for what is correct in the world, we're fulfilling our purpose and we're getting great marks. I work in these platforms where the client evaluates you after each session. And I remember they changed it, but I remember Better Up at the beginning, you had a 1 to 5, and the 5 wasn't excellent. It wasn't even great. It wasn't even amazing. It was life changing.
Mm.
And there was a lot of controversy because a lot of the countries said, in our country, in our culture, nobody will qualify a session life changing. I would love that because when a client would put that LC life changing, wow, it's like I crushed it. And I would aim for that. I mean, I'd like, you can't work against the system. Okay, This is where we are. Practice lab today. We are 1 week from Thanksgiving. The majority of the people here have that Thanksgiving reunion. And for some people, it's dreadful. In my case, I go up to Orlando. There are like 33 people and counting. And about 6 dogs, and well, the cats have to stay at home. But wow, there's all 4 generations. And of course, there's discussions, political, relationship. Remember what you did to Carlos back in 1967. I don't forgive. You know, now let's think about this, because you are going to go into a practice based on a relationship, and we're going to start the session in the middle. There's not going to be a 3.1 or what do you want to work on today, because we're going to define it here. What is the relationship you would like to improve in your life? A close relationship that you value, but you know it needs work. Does anybody have one? Raise their hand. Think about it. Why is that relationship important to you? Three, in the system of things, what is the purpose of that relationship? In the family, in the system, in the business, in the neighborhood, in the community. What is the purpose of that relationship? What is the purpose of the relationship of a mother-in-law and a son-in-law? What is the purpose of a relationship to my old uncle? What is the purpose? Write down the purpose in the chat just for a second. What is the purpose of that relationship? With an X. What is the purpose of the relationship you want to work on? Okay? Yeah, Lisa, I can send you the visuals on the, I'll put it in the WhatsApp group.
Okay, they're great. Thank you so much.
Building a legacy, friendship, everything. Now, this is where I'm going to go a tad woo-woo, okay? Let's think about that purpose for a second. The purpose. And think about a moment where you were feeling that purpose. The resonance of living that purpose. And it doesn't have to even be with the relationship, just what it feels to live the purpose of friendship, of building a legacy, to strengthen mental fitness. Where does it go when you feel that purpose? And if you may want to close your eyes, think about how that purpose resonates within yourself. And put your hand in the place of where that feeling lives. Where does friendship live? Where does building a legacy live? Where does everything, baby, live? Where does that strength live? When you are living that purpose, feel it in your body. What does your body naturally do when you're living that purpose? And then imagine yourself in the present, feeling that in front of that relation that you want to work on, with all his or her flaws, but you're feeling that purpose. Breathe deeply, open your eyes, or keep it short, and let's stretch out for a second. Ready? How we doing? Good? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to enter the breakout rooms. There are going to be 2 rooms. One is a triad. And what we'll do is select who is the coach, who is the client. You're going to have the session around that relationship you want to work on. So you're already, as a client, bringing out the relationship that you want to work on, anything that you feel right now is relevant, and coach is going to do their thing to listen, to sustain a space, to provide a possible outcome, and to see if in 20 minutes we can close the session. We can start looking at how am I going to reiterate and observe what you take away and have that takeaway in 20 minutes. So when you're in the rooms and you come in, select who's going to be the coachee, the client. Bring something good. Bring something, you want to work on, yeah. If it was me, I'd have to work on, I got a good one. My brother-in-law. Yeah, because he's been a character. But lately he was diagnosed with something really bad. He's got cancer and stuff. And I think that next week it's going to be about a conversation with the fella from a nurturing standpoint. And that this is good. That's the kind of thing. Ready? So I'm going to stop recording.
I think she's on her she may not be able to speak. So we just did a session. I was the coachee and Nicole was the coach. So I have to go, but it was really lovely. And Nicole can tell you more. She can stay. I gotta go. I gotta work out now with my trainer. But Fernando, gracias por todo el otro día. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you for the other day. And I'll see you next time. Oye, Chico, how do I know how many hours? I didn't even know we were getting CE hours for this. You get CE hours for this? Oh, I can't hear you. Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Yes, each get 1.5 cc's. It's in the website because I saw the registration.
Which one? The South Florida one
South
or
Florida, South Florida.
Chico,
The
yeah, I
ICF,
haven't
South
looked at
Florida.
that.
Okay.
All right, you guys. I'll see you next
Thanks.
time.
See you,
Oh, my
Vivi.
love.
Yeah.
Bye, you
Yes,
guys.
the split.
Bye.
And yes, everybody gets 1.5 cc's through ICF South Florida. How was the session, Nicole? You're muted. Okay.
I'm here. Yes, the session was very good. We Bibi is just a lovely person. And you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, she's just a lovely person, and we were able to move through the questions. Well, I don't want to disclose what she talked about, but I will say that she was very open, very clear on what her intent was. We were able to get to a point where she was creating and seeing opportunities to nurture the relationships or the relationship that she was focused on. Not only that, she kind of had some breakthroughs in terms of how she could apply those learnings to other relationships in her life.
What questions did you use, or what type of formulas did you apply? in terms of reflecting on the reflection, to
Well, the
move that
first thing
session
was
forward, huh?
just really acknowledging her facial expression and her body language as she introduced the relationship and the person. I also asked her about, it's interesting. It was a conversation. So I asked her about uh, what really would make the difference for her, and how I also asked her about how she sees herself, moving forward.
How do you see yourself moving forward? That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. I asked her about how she has some triggers. So asked her, okay, what can you do that will remind you to use your new skill when you encounter that
That's
trigger?
good. How did you close? Because I noticed that you closed the session because you came in before the session closed by itself.
Mm-hmm. So she got to a point where she was feeling full. And she didn't use that word, but she was full. And so then I said, well, tell me how you're feeling different now as to when we started the conversation. Right. So then she started to share on that. And then she said, well, and these are the things that I'm going to do. And I said, well, and what do you think was the greatest learning that you had in this session?
Nice.
And that, yeah, then we were done.
That's sincere. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This is what I love about uh, you folks and training others. And it's when I see you guys coaching from who you are, genuinely. I see a lot of coaches that want to emulate their masters. So you end up with a coach that's speaking differently. And I always go, you don't talk like that. Especially sometimes in Spanish, there's a certain jargon. And I
Mm-hmm.
can tell, yeah, 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 yeah. But when it's really from the heart, it is so beautiful. It is so real. It is so impactful that I think that's where the real thing is. I think that we give a lot of credit to what we learn, and we miss out on understanding it's me. I'm doing it. I learned this, but it's my own disposition as a human
Mhm.
being, because we all love helping people. Thank you, Nicole.
You're
Maritza and
welcome.
Isabel,
I'm going to switch to my phone.
Okay.
go.
All right. So I was a coach. So you want me to share a little bit?
Let me go with client first.
Okay. Okay.
Lisa,
She was great. I have to take a step back. I am a crier when I have to deal with things. And I'm like, I was not expecting when I started to talk, I started to tear up and there's like a thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening? But she was so good. Yeah, and she was asking the question. She was so effective in reflecting back what I was telling her. And she has a heart. She has a really good heart. And we talked about triggers. We talked about, I actually think I have a book title. This is going to be in my newsletter, Coping Mechanisms for Difficult Times. Oh yeah, yeah. And I'm an expert at this. So, but I needed to be reminded, and she brought that out. And Maritza, I truly say thank you. And this whole thing of coaching, my purpose is on developing mental fitness in people, and that is a good portion. I'm affiliated with emotional intelligence and positive intelligence and all the above, but it's the work I've done on myself that I can now be a better coach, which she reminded me of in the future. And I thank you again.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
The relationship that she was wanted to work with Fernando was herself.
I mean, oh, good.
Yes, it was her the
Good.
relationship with herself and how to deal with herself when, with the specific challenge that she had, right? So I noticed that she was afflicted. So I kind of let her talk I was asking, very simple questions, like tell me more, just what do you mean and things like that at the beginning for her to be able to express herself. And I tried to be empathetic because, she was tearing. And then and I asked her, what do you think, are the triggers? So she said, I think I'm very aware of my triggers, and she talked about them. And then I said, when you think about what you've done in the past, what has been helpful to you to go from that space of sadness to where you want to be, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about where she wants to be, and then she talked about things that had worked for her in the past. And then so then we moved from that into so what about the feeling, right? So I talked about it, Lita. What have you learned about yourself here?
Yeah.
I asked that question. What do you understand about the fact that the fact that you want to do you want to deal with this situation, but you want to be kind to yourself, so what do you understand about that, which is what she had shared with me. So a little bit of testing what she had because at some point she said this is a revelation or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so
What was the revelation?
I believe the revelation was that I'm not so bad doing these coping mechanisms because I've been doing them for a long time. Maritza, do you mind if I mention, Fernando, my whole family is gone. And it's always tough around the holidays. Now I have my husband, but no matter what, and so I wanted to work through what is it that I do to get me through this. And I was reminded, and Maritza brought that out, that you can't hide these feelings. You have to recognize them and then work through them in your own way. And those are my coping mechanisms.
Wow.
And
So what would you give thanks to being with your
exactly.
husband in Thanksgiving?
Yeah, you know what?
and exactly, that was a coping mechanism, was gratitude. Her go-to when I asked the question about what would be the go-to that has worked with you in the past, and she immediately said gratitude, right?
For the moment and what's in the moment.
Yes,
It's a
the
beautiful day.
gift.
I'm
Yeah,
healthy. You have to focus on the gratitude. And that's a great, and I'll tell you, my mental fitness program, that is a great way to get past that intense, like, I'm going to cry, oh my God, and you realize there's so many things to be thankful for, and you have to work at it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So
that's the key element here, because this is a wonderful session and experience for all of us, especially coming into the holidays. I mean, it's unavoidable. That we're all affected by the holidays. It's so nice. As nice as we're very well triggered, especially when I see what's happening here. Is the same thing that's happening in my place in Miami, because we don't get to go to Thanksgiving where there are 33 people. We're here, Carmen and I alone.
Yeah, yeah.
And so there's so many expectations that are not fulfilled that leave people stressed out and sad
From the media, the
from
expectation.
everything. So
Yeah,
changing our expectations for appreciation and gratitude is always something that we
yeah,
can work on, because at any point you can ask, what are you grateful for at this moment?
yeah.
you know, and waking up and understand that we have fingers, we can read, we can see, we can breathe, we can, and what you're saying, Lisa, you and your husband and being grateful and gratitude and Maritza is such a great lesson for today.
Yeah, so we were able to. She was able to crystallize a lot of the things. She probably had, she had them in herself, and I always believed that the client has that. So I was just trying to see, to try to get that out of her. And then I think I asked also at the end about the feeling. How do you feel about how you're going to approach this going forward?
Mhm.
When you start feeling that sadness of the people that are gone. That was one of my last questions. And then she said, I will then, find the gift of every moment, this and this and that.
You
That's
have to
nice.
honor them also. You have to,
Exactly.
you honor, 20 years ago, if you had asked me this question, I was telling her, I'd say, I'd have to work with my 3 hours that I can only last with my brother Bill, and like now he's gone. And like now I look at the
Yeah.
very things that drove me crazy, I miss.
Yeah.
Lisa, looking back at this session, at one point, I asked, think about the relationship. You were thinking about the relationship with yourself. What was the answer to what is the purpose of that relationship?
The purpose of the relationship with myself is to continue to have a wonderful life. And I honor my family by having a wonderful life. And the way I
Yes.
do it is through all these coping mechanisms that I have worked on because I want to have a wonderful life. And you have to acknowledge that. And this is actually why I am a coach. I am a mental fitness mindset coach. And working on recognizing emotional regulation and all these other parts of this whole thing that's still unveiling for me, uncovering for me, I think people need this in this world today.
Yeah. And in the session, she expressed as her purpose that she wanted to work on this because she said, I want to be able to share with my clients, right?
Absolutely.
Help my clients through it. So now you added the other dimension, which I really like too. So, but we talked about the
Okay.
purpose as well.
Excellent.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you. And Hessa, are you there? You observed the session from UAE? It must be very late for her. No, it's
I didn't understand, where do we get the certifications thing, the C?
they should come automatic from ICF South Florida because you registered for the
Yes.
practice lab. So that means that it's got their system. And I usually get, emails directly from ICF from different chapters when I'm
Are there, if I needed to go back because
let me
I,
look at it. Let
yeah,
me see it again because I saw it this morning. ICF South Florida.
like I've been doing some and I haven't realized that I could do that.
Uh-huh. Log in.
So Fernando, is this
Events.
something you do all the time? I mean, you do many sessions like this consistently, or
We have the practice lab is every third Friday
Okay.
of each month.
okay.
And it's good. It's always
And
good.
I also have, for advanced registration, event seminar, barter coaching. Let me look at it because when I saw it this morning, I think I saw the 1.5 CEs. But anyway, this is also a mentoring session, a group
Yeah,
mentoring session,
yeah.
which is also worth some CCEs on my part. So
Yep.
both ways you have guaranteed sessions. When I do group supervisions, there's two CCEs. And it's usually when you go in and you put Fernando Celis 1.5, they'll approve it.
Okay.
I'm always looking because you have to tally up all the sessions. So when you renew,
And I don't have my phone with me right now, but I want that QR code so I can, or maybe I am.
Okay.
I
But
think I am in your,
I think you are, but
okay, you know what?
I just put the visuals, Lisa.
Oh, thank you so much. Let me,
Okay, and I'm going to share the screen finally so we can close of our practice lab and the community of practice. We're going to be doing supervision next year, so there'll be something new. And this is our group.
okay.
It's a
I
very
don't know
nice
where my
group.
phone is.
Get your
How do I
phone.
save this? Can I take a print screen of it or something and
You take a picture.
take a picture? Can you wait for
And
one?
and if you're in the group in your computer, I put the slides and the QR code is there.
Okay, I think I am.
I think you are too. Let me see. Let me see the community of practice. I'll see all the people, the group info. Yep. Let me see.
Yeah, I got it came up for me, join group. So, okay, so you do, so you do the sessions every third Friday, you said, and I had seen it, okay. Coaching, mentoring, and supervision.
Lisa Bell, yes, you're in there.
Okay, good. I work with other people, but it's few, like we get together on Wednesday nights and do the same thing, Fernando, trying to work on bartering with each other. So I'm always open, Maritza,
Yeah.
working with other people because I'm going for the PCC.
Go for the PCC.
Yeah, in
Go for
fact,
the PCC.
I
Marisa?
wanted to ask about that. You mentioned that, Fernando. I already have the hours and everything for the PCC, and I don't have an ACC. So
I'm gonna give you two things because
okay.
the when I started, because I was one of the rebels. I didn't want to get into, I was IAC because they were easier, and everybody said you need a credential, and I was the one back in the day, 2012, 2015. I used to go badges. We don't need no badges.
We don't need none.
I don't
Well,
have
I
to
mean,
show you no
credentials.
badges.
No, it is true because I'm focused on coaching, and I cannot live my life just on. Of course, the credentials are important, but like I didn't want to focus on that, and now everybody's like, "What? You're not?"
I'm going to give you two secret weapons, okay? For your PCC thing. This is Liz, I have a school, and we developed this little chat GPT, which is an MCC level. It's got knowledge base. If you give Liz a transcript of a session and you ask her in a very, very commanding prompt, Liz, I want you to function as an MCC mentor. Analyze this session with timestamps, minutes, seconds, strong points, competencies. Do not make up anything because ChatGPT likes to make stuff up. Be clear,
It
be
doesn't spell
precise.
right either.
You have to tell them, okay.
There is no running away. I even put it a foolproof in the system, and still it starts saying stuff. It says, I didn't say that, so I have to tell them, please be, and she'll give you a report. Give you a report, ask her again. Give me a little bit more detailed. Where can I? And she'll help you in your PCC. You can say, give me a transcript of how this session would be perfect, and she'll give you a thing.
Wow.
And the
Oh,
other
wow, that's really
GPT
cool.
I'm going to give you, this is another secret weapon. This GPT, which I came up with, is from the president of ICF, Kazakhstan.
Oh,
It's got Kazakhstani or Russian lettering in it. Doesn't matter. It speaks English.
Wow.
It's an exam trainer. You can say, give me 10 scenarios of the ICF CKA exam, and it'll give you
oh,
models and it'll help you.
wonderful.
What can I expect? It helps you for the exam. It's got a good knowledge base. This guy, he's in LinkedIn, the fella. He's
Okay,
he's a PCC. So those
wow.
are two elements.
Thank you for that.
PCC, all you need is a good 2 sessions. If you're 100 and something sessions, I always advise people to do it. When I went in, as I was telling you, I had never taken an ICF program. In 2017, I applied PCC portfolio. I put in all my credentials, all my
Right.
certificates, Tony Robbins, Byron Katie, all the stuff, my
Everything.
own program,
Yeah.
and and then the sessions went through on the first try.
Oh, very
Beautiful.
nice.
I
Very
was
nice.
the antithesis of you. I went through University of Miami graduate thing where I'm at forever, and I missed, the only thing I missed was something on my recording, and I never got the PCC. And I've had to go all the way back again. Yeah,
Marisa.
one person, I don't even remember. I still have it. I won't even look at
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I've heard some horrible, stories, and I need to work. I need to get my two recordings. I have one that I think is going to work, but I need to get two good recordings. I have all the other requisites.
Use Ray Notes. Uh, it's a site. You put in your recording, it'll transcribe it, and it
Yeah.
will pinpoint competencies. Transcription will cost $4, $3, depending on the time. And then that transcript, highlight who's the coach and who's the client, and you use that transcript for Liz. The
Okay.
transcript and the audio. Liz
And what's the
doesn't
name?
Ray Notes.
How do
It's
you
on
spell
the,
it?
it's on
It's on the chat.
It's
Oh,
on the
it's on the
chat.
chat. That too, huh? Okay.
Yeah, Ray
Thank you
Notes.
so much. You're so good.
And
So I take the transcript from Rayna and put it into Liz. Okay.
and put it into Liz. Make sure that the transcript says Coach Maritza client, and then ask. In my school, I design the big prompts for the students, but just make it precise, and she'll guide you. I think with AI, we have much more tools to convey the perfect session, and I have managed to create the perfect session through AI.
Wow. You're
And
Yeah.
really good. You really, I'm very lucky
Very
to have you.
well, you know that if you use 11 Labs in HeyGen, that perfect session transcript, you can make it to work with two people talking. You can use my voice and everything.
So which one is it? The one here in the, I'm sorry, if I use what? I'm so sorry.
11 Labs, so you can voice to a perfect session. So you
11
can listen
Labs.
to how it sounds like, and then you have an understanding of what I have to say. Because the thing with the ICF is they're observing. So it's not easy to find a client that's going to dance with you.
Right.
I had
Right.
great sessions at MCC level, breakthrough great sessions
Exactly. Yeah.
that didn't go through. It was like, what the hell, no, because the 3.4 wasn't, but it wasn't that kind of session. It was a session where the person just went out and then
Right.
home, and I had to
Exactly.
do some stuff because it was a session, but I thought it was so greatly structured that I sent it. No, my mentor said it was good. And then the third session that was shut down, I think that was not fair. That's why I created Liz, because I said this
That's
cannot
beautiful.
happen to anybody else. And so it gives me, I want to have a scientific assessment subjectively, competency by competency. So
Beautiful.
if it gets rejected, I have a 3-page report that I can contest ICF. You can do.
Ooh.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I suggest contest the ICF. No. I don't care. That's $100. Yeah, come on, $100, man. It's not. So
So I have
Thank
one more
you.
question.
It's
Where,
been a pleasure. It's been a
you,
pleasure, Fernando.
it's been a
thank you,
pleasure, but the
Maritza.
11 labs, what are you
Yeah.
talking about with the 11 labs?
11 Labs is an AI app that does voice.
Yes.
So, for example, what is 11 Labs good for? Let's say you want to do content for your self-work project, coping, and you don't like to go out in public. Use 11 Labs to clone your voice so you can put a transcript and it'll give it feeling. It's a very high-end, and then that recording you take it to Hey Jen, and you take a picture of yourself in a video, and it will have you speaking. And then
Okay,
you
I
can tell
got it.
Hey Jen, okay, I want to appear in the Oval Office giving this. And,
Right. Yeah, I know,
yeah,
but there's gonna be the good people, we can use it, and then the bad people are also gonna try to use
yeah,
it.
yeah. No, but one that you can make very good content with those systems.
Excellent.
And Liz is a very good coach for Liz. I have a group session coming up on this and this and that. How would you structure it? Ask that to Liz 420 because she has in her knowledge base gigas of all the stuff we do at the school, the whole school, transcripts, manuals, more than 10 sessions. So group coaching session, structure,
Yeah, fantastic.
analysis, all kinds of stuff. And it helps you.
Very
You're
good.
wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a
Fernando.
great Thanksgiving, Maritza,
Yeah,
Lisa.
thank you.
Oh, have a
Bye-bye.
great
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
you know, I'll might be contacting you, Fernando, also. But
Absolutely.
Lisa,
Bye.
it was a pleasure too to speak with you, to
Lisa
meet you.
Bell.
May we meet again and we will all grow and be successful.
Yes,
Absolutely.
ma'am. Hallelujah. Bye.
Hallelujah is right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Take care. Bye. Bye.
Uh,